Hello and welcome. So, given the equations, find the coordinate point of the vertex. Now remember, vertex is that maximum or minimum, it's that turning point on the graph, right? There's your vertex. Now there's two ways to find the vertex, right? Now this is standard form here, there's no parentheses, so we're in standard form ax squared plus bx plus c. Alright, so when you're looking at that, there are two ways to find the vertex in standard form. You can use your x-intercepts, because you know that if you have x-intercepts, here's a dot, and the vertex is going to be literally in the middle of them. So if you have your two x-intercepts, let's say that's at like 1, and this is at 3, that means your vertex is guaranteed to be at 2. It has to be in the middle. Alright, and that will always work. For both of these, your x-intercepts are actually not nice numbers, right? You'll end up getting, like if you use quadratic formula, you'll end up getting something like 9 plus or minus the square root of 153 all over 4, right? And it's not pretty. But you can still find the vertex from using that, because then you would literally separate the plus minus, add them, divide by 2, find that middle point. And it'll end up working out very well. So that is the first way. Alright, now, however, what I would recommend is that if you're just finding the vertex, the easiest way, instead of worrying about fraction arithmetic or solving for x or anything else, frankly, is that the best way to go about this is use your shortcut. If we were talking about the quadratic formula, negative b equals plus minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, right? When you separate those out and add those two together, right? So we have the negative b plus the square root over 2a and negative b minus the square root over 2a. If we add those and take half, we get this really cool shortcut that will always work for standard form. In other words, called negative b over 2a. Because you'll find that when you combine these two together, what ends up happening is that your square root simplifies. There are 2 of them, which will cancel out with that 2. And essentially, you're left with a really cool shortcut that whenever you are in standard form, your vertex, your x coordinate of the vertex, will always equal negative b over 2a. Boom. Right? And remember, that's coming from the a and b of standard form. Alright, so when we're looking at this, I'd say, okay, b value, that's negative 24, a value, 4. So if we want to find the x-coordinate of the vertex, you go negative. Now be careful, b is negative itself, so negative of negative 24 over 2 times 4. So in other words, negative times negative, positive, over 8. In other words, 3. So you know 3 comma something is your vertex. Now how do you find the y value? Plug in x. You know it's a coordinate point, meaning if you have half of it, plug it in, find the other half. We'll plug it in where? Well, we know that every coordinate point is x comma y, meaning x is 3. X is 3. Plug it in. Right, so we have f of 3, in other words, our y value when x is 3, is equal to 4 times 3 squared minus 24 times 3 plus 38. Simplify, right? 3 squared, that's 9. 9 times 4, 36. And then we just have 24 times 3, which is going to give us negative 72 plus 38. Combine those together, so we have 36 minus 72 plus 38, and that is going to give us 2. So we plugged in 3, we got back 2. There's your vertex. Right? So the solutions of x may not be pretty, but bam, you're done. Finished. Not too bad. Right? Here, let's do it just one more time. So x equals negative b, so here's your b value, so negative of b, negative of a negative 9, all over 2 times a, which is 2, so we get positive 9 over 4. Gasp! A fraction! Don't freak out. It's just 9/4, comma something, and the process for fractions is exactly the same as the process for whole numbers. All right, so here's your x value. Plug in x. So we have 2 times 9 fourths squared minus 9 times 9 fourths minus 9. Okay, now fraction arithmetic isn't your strong suit. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. I would just go to a calculator. Okay, so clear out what we have. So we have 2 times 9 fourths. And then if you're going to plug it in directly, like word for word, like just the whole thing, make sure you're using parentheses. You need to have parentheses to put the entire thing, like especially for that square. You want to make sure the square goes both to 9 and 4. So make sure you're just using parentheses if you want to plug the whole thing in. So 2, okay. Alright, so we plug that whole thing in, no decimals, right? So we go back to fractions. This is simplified as it gets, negative 153 over 8, and that is your answer. Equals negative 153 over 8. There's your y value. Oh, goodness gracious. My 153 needs help. Negative 153 over 8. There you go. So fractions work the same way as whole numbers do, don't freak out, but negative b over 2a will always work in standard form because it's essentially just finding the middle of your two x-intercepts every time. Alright, thanks for watching.